Have you ever wanted to just disappear? To delete everything, ghost everyone, and fix yourself without anyone watching? That urge isn't cowardice, it's a biological defense mechanism. Late at night, motivation hits. You decide tomorrow everything changes. You map out a plan, then make the fatal mistake. You tell someone. They cheer you on, and for a moment you feel like you've already won. Then weeks pass, you've done nothing, and when someone asks how it's going, you feel a wave of shame. Why does this keep happening? You're not lazy. You walked into a neurological trap. Researcher Peter Gallwitzer called it social reality. Your brain can't tell the difference between talking about a goal and achieving it. When people acknowledge your plans, your brain thinks the work is already done. You get a premature dopamine reward without lifting a finger. Every time you talk about what you're going to do, you leak the very fuel required to do it. That's why building in silence isn't just an aesthetic choice. It's a biological necessity. Keep your mouth shut, and the only way your brain gets its reward is by actually finishing the task. When you experience a massive failure, a financial collapse, a painful breakup, losing an identity you built your career around, something inside you shatters. But the worst part isn't the loss itself, it's the eyes of people watching you fall. Psychologists call this a bleeding ego. The last thing you want is an audience, their advice, their awkward comfort, and especially their pity. Pity reinforces the idea that you're broken and they're whole. Rebuilding in the open means constant social surveillance. People mean well asking how you're holding up, but your brain reads it as a threat. Every check-in forces you to relive the failure. Cortisol spikes, you're locked in fight or flight, and your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for creativity and strategy, shuts down. You can't rebuild while an audience is watching you try. This is why the urge to disappear hits so hard. Society calls it running away. Evolutionary biology tells a different story. A wounded predator doesn't stay in the open. It finds a quiet cave and isolates until the bleeding stops. Wanting to disappear isn't weakness. It's your brain demanding a sterile space to perform surgery on your shattered identity. The internet's romanticized version of isolation, 4 a.m. wake-ups, black coffee, stoic quotes, looks cinematic, but that's still a performance. The first week feels liberating. By month 2 or 3, the silence becomes deafening. You're staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering if you made a mistake. You'll lose people, not through arguments, but because you're no longer available to play the role they assigned you. This is where most people quit. The isolation feels too heavy, so they run back to old habits. But if you stay in the dark, something happens. Ego death. To rebuild, you first have to demolish the rotten foundation. Kill off the old version of yourself before the new one forms. It's surgery without anesthesia. If you're in the middle of this right now, feeling alone and overwhelmed, know this. The discomfort is your neural pathways rewiring. If the silence hurts, the surgery is working. Most self-help advice tells you to forgive yourself and release your shame. I'm telling you the opposite. Shame isn't toxic. Neurologically, extreme negative emotion is one of the most powerful catalysts for neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to reorganize itself. It doesn't change when comfortable. It changes when survival demands it. Most people can't sit with that pressure. They vent, they complain, they seek people to tell them it wasn't their fault. Venting releases the pressure valve and dissipates the very energy required to change. Instead, treat your shame like a nuclear reactor. Dangerous in the open, but contained in silence, it can power an entire city. On the days you want to quit, don't rely on motivation. It's weak. Go down into that vault, tap the reactor of shame and regret, and use it to force yourself to work. Rewiring your life takes a minimum of 6 months of uninterrupted focus. 3 rules. Rule 1. No dramatic exits. Don't announce you're taking a break to focus on yourself. That's a disguised bid for attention. True silence requires 0 explanation. You simply evaporate. Rule 2. Practice information starvation. When people ask what you've been up to, 90% of the time they're gathering data to measure your trajectory against their own. Give them nothing, just keeping my head down, focusing on work, day by day. With no data, they stop asking. Rule 3. Brutal, unrewarded consistency. No one will cheer for your 5 a.m. wake-ups. The only thing keeping you accountable is the promise you made yourself in the dark. Sustain that for 6 months, and you reach psychological freedom. When no one knows what you're doing, no one can tell you you're doing it wrong. Be honest, part of you wanted this for revenge, to build something undeniable in the shadows and drop it in front of everyone who doubted you. That's a normal starting point. But here's the twist. By the time you finish, something shifts. You realize you don't care about their reaction anymore. The validation you were starving for now feels hollow because you've spent 6 months clapping for yourself in the dark. When you step back into the world, you won't need to announce your arrival. Your posture, your discipline, and the quiet weight of your competence will speak for themselves. You haven't just rebuilt your life. You've resurrected a new identity, one that's bulletproof to the opinions of the crowd.